I go yum 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 all over the screen.
You know, like Simpsons eating noises.
Right, I'm gonna.
Yeah! No! Oh! Woo!
Oh, now I'm on. You right? You right there, Elk?
You okay? Oh, I think you might have.
Mel Blanc screen.
Oh, we're breaking you again.
I'm gonna have to turn the game down. It's way too loud. Right. Hello there. Welcome. You caught us out.
I'm sorry. Just start the podcast.
Yeah, why not? Why not start a podcast like that? It's a perfect way to start a podcast.
The Mel Blanc screen caught me by surprise.
So, yeah, welcome to the Lucky It Podcast number 81.
Ta-da.
On the 27th of July 2020. I'm the Gagaman.
I'm CherryT.
I'm Hunk Thunder. It's not that funny.
Jesus. Skip off the ball.
Well,
Who are
there goes
you?
the joke.
Who are you, Elk?
There goes the joke I came up with for this week. I'm Elk.
Yeah.
and I'm that's me doing the scream in the thumbnail.
Yeah. Have it. So yeah, in case you were just wondering what we were playing, that set Elk off as much as it did. That was what we'll be talking about later in the podcast. It's basically one of the many, many millions of things we're gonna have to try and just summarize that have happened in the last 48 hours in terms of Nintendo stuff. So, but as we usually start these things, we usually start by talking about what we've been playing. So I don't know who wants to go first.
Do you mind if I go first?
Yeah,
Because
go for it.
I'm playing it right now. I'm playing Pokemon Blue.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing it while we're podcasting. That's multitasking.
Yeah. But yeah, so over the weekend I've just been like hovering between this one, Ultra Moon, and hopefully I'm gonna try and make a bit more progress in Y as well.
Oh yeah.
One of the things I like about playing it on the 3DS is how anything you catch that's stored in box 1 can be sent to Pokemon Bank. So that's what I'm trying to do.
So
Yeah.
So literally trading across the generations.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool that they figured out a way to make that happen.
Apparently, in the beginning, you didn't have that option, but I guess sometime after that came out, Pokemon Bank must have integrated it.
I remember they announced that Pokemon Bank would be supported with Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow at the very same time that they announced those were coming to 3DS.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you're playing these on 3DS, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I obviously you have to be if Pokemon Bank works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so far, even though this is like probably my fourth or fifth full play of the game. I've just defeated Surge. And I'm trying to make my way to the next town.
This is practically a let's play in audio form.
Yeah. Alright, so that's kind of been it as far as Pokemon's concerned, and there's also Dr. Mario World as usual. But this morning, I had a bit of a nice surprise, which I think everyone else who plays it got as well.
Yeah,
Yep.
I don't play the game, but I heard about this myself.
Yes. It's the 30th anniversary of the original Dr. Mario. So, as a way to celebrate it, they've put 8-bit Dr. Mario as a playable character.
What I want to know, does he do the fist pumping thing when you win?
I think he does.
The 2-frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I might have to play it again. So does he just unlock?
That's wonderful.
Does he just unlock from having the game open?
Yeah, for
Just boot in the
everyone,
game,
I think.
it just gives it to you. It's not a gacha thing where you have to
No.
try and gamble to get it.
Oh no,
Good.
I think everyone's got it as a free gift, because every once in a while,
Yeah, I was.
Sorry.
That's surprisingly generous of them.
Yeah, every once in a while, you do get a few rarer gifts that you just get sometimes for your patience during maintenance or just being loyal to the game.
Playing it every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool. I might actually have to boot that up just so I can unlock him. Because I have got it sitting on my phone, but I haven't actually gotten around to playing it for ages. No, I did like it, but it's just because it's on a phone, I can't be bothered. For some reason, I just don't bother with phone games, even when they're games that I know I'm gonna like. Like I install them, and then they just don't get played. If they put it, pardon me, if they put it on the Switch, then I would probably play tons of it by now.
Yeah.
I know what that's like. I had Pokemon Go installed on my phone for a year and a half, and I never once actually opened it, so I just deleted it at some point.
Yeah, that's been about it though.
Okay, I guess I'll go next. Sorry if you could hear me eating in the middle of that. I was eating some ice cream.
A delicious ice cream.
Yeah. Well, I was eating some yogurt and granola,
This is a very professional podcast so far.
Yeah.
As always.
We're all hungry.
It's the Lucky Hit podcast. That's what you should expect. 81 episodes in, whether you joined us from episode 1 or episode 60 something. Either way, you should know what to expect by now.
If it's not technical issues, it's us being a bunch of dolts.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go next because other than the usual, just jumping into Asphalt 9 occasionally, and I've also been playing a little bit more of Atomic Robo Kid. I think I'm near the end now, but as I say, I've only played an extra half hour of it or something. But
you really got into that game.
Yeah, I love that game. I think that game's really neat. There's a lot of really cool Easter eggs in it. I don't know if I mentioned it last week, but at one point you'll find a Bubble Bobble dinosaur robot. At the start of one of the levels. You know the dinosaur from Bubble Bobble? There's Bob
and Bob, right?
Yeah, there's a little robot version of him that shows up in one of the levels. You can sort of shoot at him, and he does that little crying animation that Bub does when he gets hit by lightning in Bubble Bobble, and then he just sort of disappears. It's really weird because it's not a Taito game, but they put this cameo in it. But then there's also stuff there's a timer in the game that rarely ever runs out because you can get through the levels pretty quickly. But if you do let the timer run out, a giant robotic Pac-Man comes after you.
What?
Yeah.
First Bob and Bob and now Pac-Man?
Yeah. Also, I grabbed a little clip of it on my Switch. That's one thing I love about the Switch is the fact you can just grab videos immediately of things if you see them. I was mooching around on a level and I went down this little chasm that was a dead end, and Ninja Jajamoru-kun was running around. Straight up the sprite from the arcade game was just jumping and running around. It's just
I think that game was also UPL.
I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah, so at least that one makes sense. I think that's all. I think that's all the Easter eggs I've seen so far, but there might be more. I don't know. I just keep spotting little weird things in this game, and yeah. It's definitely smoother than the Mega Drive one. I'm pretty sure I said that last week, but yeah, I like that game. I've got a soft spot for it, as I said last week. But other than that, main thing I played, because I've mostly been really busy this week and I haven't really had a lot of time for games. But yesterday I was feeling a little bit burnt out from freelance work. And I was like, oh, I'm going to spend the evening. I'm going to actually sit down because it arrived, as you saw in the last live stream we did, the Xbox One. Streets of Rage 4 arrived. And I haven't actually played it for quite a few days since I got it. But last night I finally went, right, I'm just gonna spend the night on this. And I spent about almost 4 hours on it in one sitting, pretty much.
Yeah, because you were playing it as I was coming back home from work.
Yeah, I pretty much started playing it when I finished having dinner, and then I was still playing it for at least an hour after you got home from work. But yeah, my initial impression of it was really strange. Actually, I wasn't expecting this because it's just not what I expect from a Streets of Rage game. But when I started it up, it's like you start with 2 lives. And then when you go into the next level, no matter how many lives you had, or how many you lost, or how many you gained, you'll start with 2 again. And every time you game over, you have to start the whole level again. And I just did not expect that, and I just thought it was really strange. And I was playing it on normal mode, and obviously I didn't know all the mechanics yet, so I was struggling with like the riot police, where you have to break their shield first and stuff like that. And I just kept dying on the second level and having to restart the second level. I was like, this feels terrible. I was like, why have they done this? This isn't the flow of Streets of Rage that I expect, where you could just stack up you stack up lives and you just go through it as normal. So I ended up resorting to dropping it down to easy, just so I could get back into it, just so the game can click, because I feel like normal mode was just too hard, which is really strange. I was not expecting that, like, for normal, especially when there's a hard and a harder mode. I didn't expect normal mode to just be a no-go zone when you first play the game. It was just like, I was really shocked. But yeah, I played through the entire game on easy mode, and yeah, the game clicked pretty much immediately after that. I set up my Mega Drive M30 controller and configured it so it all feels like the Mega Drive game. I did want to use the classic controls where it's just the Mega Drive controls, but then you don't get the star power, so I ended up just configuring it so I've got everything. Still not quite used to the fact that picking up items is a separate button. I get why they've done that, because obviously sometimes you would accidentally pick up stuff when you don't want to in the original games, so it was nice that they've made it a separate button. It's just getting used to that fact. But my god, does this game feel like Streets of Rage. They absolutely nailed it. It feels, once you get the hang of it, and the character I always played the most was Blaze, so I played as Blaze first, and yeah, exactly the same. Like, they nailed it. The only thing I was like, I don't know why they didn't do it, was bring some of the moves from Streets of Rage 3, like the running and the dodging and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I was really surprised that wasn't there. Like, they clearly use Streets of Rage 2 as their reference for this game, because it feels exactly like that game. So yeah, ended up really loving it, despite that initial what the hell have they done to the flow. And once you beat the game once, you do actually unlock an arcade mode, which is basically what the original game was, where you start with about 5 lives. The lives carry over per level, and obviously if you game over, that's it, you're out. So yeah, I also unlocked Axel from Streets of Rage 1. I hope this isn't spoilers for anyone, but yeah, you can basically unlock almost every Streets of Rage character from the previous games, their sprites and everything. Like, so you can unlock all 3 of the previous Axels, all 3 previous Blazes. You can get Skate from 2 and 3. I think some of the other characters. You can't get the Kangaroo though, which I was a bit disappointed by. I'm not surprised Ash isn't in it, but like, it would have been nice to have the Kangaroo. Maybe they can throw him in as DLC or a patch or something. That'd be alright. Yeah, he was actually behind the bar. Like, he was working, he was like polishing some glasses at the back of a bar, but he was like chained up to the wall. I was like, did the clown get him again? Was he kidnapped by the clown again? There's loads of really nice little Easter eggs in it. Loads of like little nods to previous games, and yeah, the animation's stunning. The soundtrack I thought was a bit of a slow burn. I think it starts, like, obviously the first few songs are by Yuzo Koshiro, and they're clearly throwbacks to the old games. It's like, it's basically a sound alike of Streets of Rage 2 music. I felt like the soundtrack kind of went a bit mellow for a little bit, but once you get near sort of the end of the game, like the later levels, the soundtrack really starts to kick in, and it's like, yep, this is Streets of Rage music. This is definitely Streets of Rage music. Some of it was even Streets of Rage 3-esque, which I was fine with. Like, you could tell that was the stuff by, you know, what's his name, the other composer from 3 and 2. Yeah, he did a lot of the too. Yeah, he did a lot of the later songs in the game, and you can really tell. It's like it really goes places, and it's even kind of like a plot thing where, like, I think it's like the children of, I don't know if people want to know plot stuff. There's not a lot of plot, but there's a little bit of plot. I don't know if anyone wants to know it. Are they bothered, or I'm just putting it out there. I can not.
I'm not too bothered.
Are you bothered?
Yeah, I'll probably forget all about it by the time I can finally play the game.
Oh, fair enough. So basically, the villains of this game are the children of Mr. X.
Okay, that I actually already knew. So.
Oh, okay. They're like Mr. and Mrs. Y. I don't know if they're brother and sister, but despite the names, Mr. and Mrs. Y implies they're a couple. I don't know what that is all about. But yeah, there's a plot point in it where it's like, they put speakers in the sewers and they're going to brainwash the entire city, including the police, to obey them with, like, brainwashing music. And I was like, they're going to set up this big concert with this big dance musician, and they're going to use the music to brainwash the whole city. And I was like, this is where the good music's going to kick in, isn't it? And I was like, yep. This is where the good music kicked in.
Sounds like the plot of a Jet Set Radio game.
It really does, yeah. I feel like that was almost like a little nod in a way. But yeah, sure enough, the music that's supposed to be the brainwashing music is like the best music in the whole frigging game. So it's like, guess I'm brainwashed.
It's like the Sirens song in the in Homer's Odyssey.
Yeah, in a way. But in this case, it's like, here's the most Streets of Rage song in the game. Like the most crazy song in the whole game. I was like, yep, I love this. This is, I don't know if I mentioned, if you didn't see the Xbox stream, I actually got the Signature Edition, which is not the limited run games one, but it's like another collector's edition they've done in the UK by Merge Games.
I did see that. It's pretty cool.
It's really nice, actually. It's got a set of 5 pins. It's got a keychain. It's got a little art book. It's got a coin. It's got like a headband with the logo on it. It's got like a print with signatures by like autographs by the developers. I think it's just a print of their autographs, but you know. And best of all, it's got a 2 CD soundtrack, which I think has every song on it. So I was quite happy with that. It was about 54 quid, I think it was. So I was pretty pleased with that. Really big box as well. When it arrived, I was like, oh, I couldn't wait. It's definitely the poshest. It's definitely the biggest collector's edition I've got for the Switch so far. Like, quite a lot of nice stuff in it. Obviously, it's not as big as the massive one that's coming out from Limited Run Games that has like the 2 feet, the diorama figure, and the Mega Drive cartridge or anything like that. But I couldn't afford that.
Yeah.
So,
well, I couldn't afford it either.
I couldn't justify the postage, especially. It was almost the price of buying this version of the game alone. Like the postage for the limited run one was almost as much. For an extra tenner, I could buy this Signature Edition, so I thought, I'll get that instead. I'm glad I did now, because I've got it now. Apparently there's going to be a patch in a few days as well. Like they're actually going to patch a few like little issues of the game, and maybe some other little extra bells and whistles. So yeah, that's mainly what I've been playing. Streets of Rage 4 for a whole evening. Yeah, I can't wait to play more of it and slowly and unlock all the other original sprites, because I played through a little bit of I played through arcade mode a little bit with Streets of Rage 1 Axel, and that was so good. It's like they've had to blow up his sprite really big because the sprites in the first game are smaller than all the other games, so they've had to like blow his sprite up so it's really chunky, but like he plays exact. Like they nailed it. Like I think you can even do that thing where you sort of wiggle back and forth when there's characters behind you. I haven't tested it properly yet, but I think there is. You know what speedrunners do in Streets of Rage? Have you ever watched a speedrunner Streets of Rage 1, where they basically they get characters to show up in front and behind them, and then they just bash the A and B button, no, the B and C buttons like rapidly, so the character just sort of flicks back and forth between both characters and just drains their health. I don't know if that's possible in this, but I'd like to think it is. Also, his special is exactly what you think it would be. So, yeah.
I've never heard of a trick like that. I know there was something similar in Final Fight that
I'd say, look up speedruns. I think it's only in the first one, but look up speedruns of Streets of Rage 1 because there's this technique that's just ridiculous. It's just so silly. And I'd like to know if that's possible in this game, because if it is, that would be amazing. And that just goes to show how much they've absolutely nailed the programming and how the game feels, because the fact that you can actually play the original characters, that would really bring it up to scrutiny, because obviously if they play even slightly different to what they did on Mega Drive, veterans of the game are going to notice. But when I was playing Axel, he just felt exactly like he did in 1. So yeah, the throws had the exact same time into them and everything. It was perfect. And the way the enemies behave and stuff feels pitch perfect as well. They really knew what they were doing with this game. So yeah, as I can say, I'd probably trust Lizard Cube with pretty much any classic Sega property at this point. They did Wonder Boy, they did Streets of Rage 4.
Yeah.
Classic Phantasy Star, okay, please.
Yeah, that'd be alright. I
would love to see them.
Wouldn't say no to that either.
I would love to see them do Comic Zone, actually.
Oh yeah,
that's a really good pick, actually.
Yeah.
Because I'd kind of like it to not be exactly like the original game, because I always thought the original game was far too difficult and kind of cheap. But if they could, maybe a sequel would be better than a remake for that. I think a sequel. Yeah,
maybe they could
fantastic.
They could probably dial down the difficulty a little, and it would still be nice. But I think they would be an excellent fit.
I think options.
Yeah, or do that too.
Yeah, have a mode that's exactly like the original for people that want that, like they have with this. Because when I first played it, as I say, having to repeat the same level over and over just didn't feel like Streets of Rage to me. It just felt like it was breaking the flow. I'm just used to playing level to level, and if I game over, I game over. Like I don't expect to keep playing the same level. Like I just find that weird.
That is.
You don't realise a game has a specific flow until a game in that series breaks it, I suppose, if that makes sense. You know, kind of like how in like later Sonic games, it was like you lose rings, but you don't lose all your rings, or especially when you play the Mega Drive Sonic games and then you go back to the Master System ones, and it's like you lose one ring instead of all your rings, but that one ring counts as all your rings, and you only get one back, and it's like what. I know that's a sprite limitation, but that's the kind of thing I'm talking about, where it's like you get so used to a specific way a game feels, and then you go to another game in that series, and it's different.
Yeah, even I even noticed that, even back when those games were still new, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was obviously a limitation in that case, but in this case, this was like a specific choice. Like, the way they've done the lives in Streets of Rage 4 is a very specific concept that a lot of people seem to really like, because when I was talking about this on Twitter, I got a lot of people saying, oh, I love this system. I was like, I don't know yet. I don't know yet. Maybe I'll grow to like it, but when I first initially played it, I was like, this is strange. It's very odd. But yeah, that's what I've been playing on. I've been rambling too long. Who wants to go next?
Yeah, I can.
Righto?
Yeah, you should go.
As usual, Animal Crossing.
Go.
Yeah.
Just leave. No.
Alright, here you go. Yeah, Animal Crossing as usual. What else? I've been playing that Game Grumps game, Soviet Jump game.
Oh yes, yeah, I saw you were playing that multiplayer with a few friends, and
yeah,
we were in a voice chat the other day. I wasn't playing it because I was working, but like, I was just listening to you guys
in the background,
cursing at each other over it.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's basically a battle royal, but a platformer in the sort of like an 8-bit platformer. So everything's a bit simple and.
Isn't it just like you're just trying to jump on each other?
Yeah, literally jumping on each other's heads. There's power-ups all over the place.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I still want to try this because it is free to play as well, isn't it?
it is. And obviously there's some bits you can pay for, but from what I see, all you're paying for is just aesthetics, that bits and pieces which don't improve the game at all. So
it's just for cosmetics. That's fair enough.
yeah, don't know why I said aesthetics, but yeah. What else? I did a Portal speed run.
Really?
Yeah, just
plowed
for
through
that. Yeah, it's been like 3 years since I did my last one, and yeah, it took me about an hour and a half, and I was actually surprised how well I did with some bits and pieces, considering I haven't touched it in a while.
Yeah, that sounds. I didn't even realise you speed runs that.
Well,
or nippy run, or
yeah, I'd say nippy run because it definitely wasn't the fastest. Because obviously I haven't
the fastest.
practiced lately.
I wouldn't be surprised if speed runs are like 10 minutes or something because they go to the floor or something.
I've seen some bits and pieces which, I really don't have the dexterity to do myself because I can't spin my mouse around that quickly and press the right buttons at the right time.
Yeah.
What else? I think that's actually it. I haven't been playing a lot lately because I'm gradually getting back to work now.
Yeah. You know what that Game Grumps platformer battle royale reminds me of? There was a homebrew Mario game years back that I remember playing on the Dreamcast because it was ported over, called Super Mario War.
Yeah.
And it was basically a multiplayer Mario game where you had to be the first to jump on each other, and it actually had like Unreal Tournament, like multi-kill, like voices in it and stuff. I remember that being really fun actually. That's what
I thought the concept sounded familiar.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of when you described it. I was like, oh yeah, that just sounds like this thing I had on the Dreamcast. I think I've still got a disc with it on somewhere.
Yeah, it's just that, but obviously all the copyrighted stuff just chucked out, and
of course.
From what I saw ages ago, apparently Egoraptor found some sort of Famicom clone over in Russia made by Dandy, which is like a big Russian.
Oh, Dendy.
Dendy, that's it.
Yeah.
Dendy. I've heard of them.
Yeah. Basically, they are nothing to do with Nintendo, but somehow ripped off Nintendo back in the 1990s.
Mm-hmm. They basically distributed illegal Nintendo games all over Russia because copyright laws weren't really that much of a thing there for that time. So,
and obviously,
Dendy history is actually really fascinating. There's some really good channels that are actually by Russians that are subtitled in English that go into the whole history of Dendy. It's actually quite fascinating.
Yeah, it's quite. I think they are still going today in some form.
Possibly.
So,
I'd have to have a look.
Plug and play consoles, that sort of thing.
Yeah, they're kind of like tech toy, but not official.
Yeah. So Aaron Hansen found. Well, this isn't real, but
I was going to say, is this just like some cat? This is like the canology to this game, like the fake canology. Yeah, it's not like an actual thing.
Yeah. So he found a Dendy out in Russia, and somehow it got connected to the internet. I'm not sure how, because
a Dendy console that has NES games that can connect to the internet. Yep.
Yeah, and therefore he found
they're really stepping it up.
Yeah, he found this game, which is like the world's first battle royale game. So he built it.
I'm surprised he didn't try to turn it into a creepypasta somewhere as well to get even more hits.
Yeah.
That would have been the easy way. Or it's a cursed online NES game. If you play it too much, you die. I don't know. It just sounds like the kind of thing someone would make up on YouTube. I think the Dendy NES games is where Grandad came from.
Oh yeah.
Essentially, it was one of those like hacked, like ROM hack. It was basically
the
just
Flintstones.
Yeah. Flintstones game with Mario's head slapped on it was basically a Russian bootleg.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that sounds accurate.
I'm pretty sure that's its origin anyway.
Well, what's the name? What's with the name though? Granddad.
Granddad 7 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I think that was just, I don't know, just spit
Don't try to
random
make
words.
sense out of it.
It's just a bunch of random words they cobbled together. It was like, I don't know, just call it whatever.
Yeah, it's sort of fascinating, like from the 1990s, and just like the world obviously wasn't connected to the internet, and so like
so much,
games, games were well known elsewhere in the world, but no one knew like there was a market in Russia, or no one knew there was a market in like Hong Kong.
Yeah, they were just like completely different like worlds. Like they experienced the games in completely different ways to how we did. And
Yeah,
I always find that stuff really fascinating. Like the whole history of Tech Toy and Dendy and all that kind of stuff's just really fascinating.
yeah. So that's pretty much what I've been playing this week. I probably will be playing a bit more now that I'll be working just in the mornings and got the rest of the day to play stuff. So
sweet.
Oh, although there is one thing I hopefully will be playing by the end of this week, but Lego Mario set is on its way to me at some point this week.
Oh, cool. What one did you get? Did you get the base set or?
I did. That was the one that went up like day one, and
okay.
I see how things go. I mean, like, there's a Smith's toy shop opposite where I work, so I may pop in there and get a few extra bits and pieces on the way home one day.
I must admit, I do really like the main figure, like the actual, like the chunky Mario with the light up eyes and stuff. I think he's really cool. If you could just buy him on his own, I wouldn't actually be bothered about the actual sets. I just want the figure. I just think the figure's cool.
I do think that's a cool idea for a Lego thing.
Yeah.
They really went for a really nice, unique idea with it, even if obviously it ends up being insanely expensive in some cases, but...
Yeah, every time I like say that, someone's always like, "Oh, but it's Lego," because Lego is the premier brand of toys out there. I was just like, yes, they are, but there's people that would like it but can't afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a bit of a shame that it has become like this kind of deluxe. We sort of went into this when they announced the NES Lego, but it's become this kind of like elite. It's mainly for collectors thing, and the only kids that tend to really get it now are like rich kids. Unless you go to car boot sales, because sometimes you do still find Lego that people are flogging off if they're not selling the individual figures for like £10. But
yeah. Not to mention I've seen videos of people just gushing about the Lego NES thing, and they were just saying just buy it and then hold on to it because it's going to go way up in value over the years.
Yeah, if you can get one, because they're probably going to sell out
immediately. If you're gonna get one, that's what this thing's just. I'm just predicting that's what's gonna be. It's gonna be. Well, but it's gonna be like stocks. People are just gonna trade it around like stocks.
Yeah.
Soon as the value goes up, that's when you sell it.
That's kind of retro gaming stuff in a nutshell for the last 5+ years. Like
basically, it's pretty sad.
Don't even get me into that.
Yeah, let's skip that subject.
I could fill a whole podcast with ranting about that, but I won't.
Maybe some other time.
Yeah, maybe as a main subject or something.
So, yep, Lego's on the way, and
so is that it for you?
That is it for me. Yep.
Okay. All right. So my turn. Yeah. I actually played a whole bunch of games. I finally finished Neutopia on the TurboGrafx 16 Mini. I finally played pretty much every other game, and no.
Neutopia, and I was like,
actually, you know what? I finished Neutopia as well, and I also finished Final Fantasy VII, the remake. Which, yes, I bought that, and I'm just kidding. Yeah, none of that happened. I just played Phantasy Star Online 2 the entire week.
Oh, I see. You made it funny.
Yeah, that game is basically consumed my entire life, just like the Yakuza games did after Yakuza 7 dropped. That's all I ever do is just play Fantasy Star Online 2.
Anything notable happened this week, or?
Well, yeah, actually, I finally finished episode well, no, episode 3 is not done for me, but I finally finished the chapter in episode 3 that would award me the Dreamcast Evolution
Nice.
Mag Evolution device after beating it. And man, episode 3 was such a powerful episode so far. Like this is the I know the story was not. I don't know how to speak. It's just,
I'm not surprised. Not what with,
yeah,
not with how we're going to perfectly segue this into the news.
I remember when I was first talking about the story mode in this game, I didn't think much of it. Man, it really sinks its claws into you the further you get in. And just episode 3, this is where it started getting it started having me get emotional again, like the Yakuza games typically did. But to sum it up, episode 3, it centers around this character that you met in episode 1 who helps you out a lot. This is a girl who is supposed to have something called the Profound Darkness within her, which is something that Dark Falls is trying to get a hold of in order to pretty much destroy the entire universe and like that.
Fantasy Star Universe.
So
yeah,
the Fantasy Star.
So I remember spoilers, but near the end of Phantasy Star 4, it like this profound darkness was powerful enough to kill a whole town, like quite literally.
So it was another thing from the original games then?
Yeah. Yeah, well, the Profound Darkness in this game is just as bad, if not worse. And it's all within this one little girl who, you have to go back into the past at some point in episode 2. You figure out why she has the darkness, and then you realize at that point you have to kill her. Otherwise, Dark Falls is going to get the Profound Darkness from her. And then, yeah, so there comes a point in episode 3, you meet with one of the Dark Falls guys, and he tells you, yeah, you really need to kill this girl, all right? She's bad news. And you know you don't want to kill her, but you don't have a choice. The game has you making choices at some point. At this point, you have a choice when you confront this guy, but you really only have one choice. Just kill her. And it's like, no, I don't want to kill her. No, why are you doing this to me? And then you have to go and fight her, and then even if you lose, you end up killing her. And then you
trip over,
and then
she falls off a cliff.
Bit like with Nay first in Phantasy Star 2, where no matter whether you beat her or not, Nay still dies.
Yeah.
Just gonna put this out as well. Just gonna put this out there. Snape killed Dumbledore.
Yeah.
While we're doing all these
classic
deaths,
spoilers,
classic deaths.
Oh man, you guys laugh now, but like I was crying when this whole thing happened. And what makes it worse is after you kill her, you also end up killing the Dark Falls guy. You kill them both at once, and then your character morphs into that Dark Falls guy. So what happened?
You were the darkness all along.
Yeah. What happens is he is you, and he's been going back to the past to try and kill her after trying so many times to save her. And you basically see how that happens. Your character's stuck in an endless time loop, and then right after that, you got to replay this mission. You confront the Dark Falls guy again. He tells you, "Hey, I know you really don't want to kill this girl, but you got to kill her, dude." And you finally get to say, no, I don't want to kill her. And then everything changes after that. You have to fight the Dark Falls guy, you beat him, and then you collaborate with all of Arcs in one big-time battle to save this girl and stop the Profound Darkness at the same time. You're racing against the clock to get to her, and all of your Arcs friends that you met in the story mode, ever since the earliest episode, they all come by during the race to help you out against several bosses, and then you finally clash with her, and you're finally able to beat her. You finally drive the Profound Darkness out of her, and it's just
It's good then.
And after that, it's just like there's also there's tears going everywhere. The game plays the credits and it plays this really emotional vocal theme. It's really powerful stuff. But guess what? It's not over because you still have to fight the profound darkness after that. I know, weird place to put the credits, but I haven't done that yet. Although I know what happens because I've already faced the profound darkness a bunch of times in urgent quests, with a bunch of other players helping me out. So this time I'm going to have to fight it alone, and it's going to affect the story. But anyway, yeah, I did all of that. I got my Dreamcast mag, and you know what else? I found out that in certain other blocks, parts of block number 69 end up bleeding out into the other blocks.
Oh no!
So I saw
It's
another.
because you talked about it last time.
So I saw another Kuna concert. Kuna, if you don't remember, I was calling her Kuna before. It's actually Kuna, apparently. She's the in-universe idol who has her own songs she performs during certain times. So I was in block 2 watching the concert. Not block 69, block 2. There was a bunch of people there. They were all spamming all sorts of symbol art during the concert. Some of them spammed more uncensored hentai.
Oh dear.
And then right after the concert was over, there was a bunch of female characters that just jumped on the stage and did their pole dancing and chair dancing emotes.
Was that set to the Fantasy Zone
Hakuna
theme?
Matata.
Was that set to the Fantasy Zone theme?
Fantasy.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I know.
Yeah.
I know what you're referencing. No, but that would have been great if they did that. That would have been fantastic. Anyways, yeah, that's about all I've been doing. Also, I've been now they're starting to hand out lots of experience every day for a celebration event to celebrate the announcement of something we're going to talk about later.
Very soon, actually. We could pretty much segue straight into it if you want, because seems like a good place to do that. Because we've got news coming up straight after you talk about what you've been playing, so we might as well start with that.
Yeah, I guess we might as well. Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about New Genesis.
This is the
Phantasy Star Online 2.
I love that name, New Genesis. It's literally got Genesis in the name. Does that mean when they eventually release it in Europe, it'll be New Mega Drive?
You're not the only person to ask that about.
If we ever get Phantasy Star Online 2 in Europe, that is.
One day.
Actually, what it means is you're gonna get Phantasy Star Online 2 on the Mega Drive.
Oh,
they're gonna find a way to make it work on the Mega Drive.
They're gonna collaborate with Dendy.
Yeah.
And Tectoy at the same time.
Yeah, apparently, since they found out how to connect their bootleg NES things to the internet.
So yeah, during that Xbox game showcase thing, which we did a live stream of, I think it was on Thursday, because I haven't played this game and because Elk wasn't with us at the time, so obviously they played this trailer and I was like, oh, this looks prettier than it normally does. I haven't really watched lots of gameplay or played I haven't played it at all, but I haven't seen much of it either. So I couldn't really remember what Phantasy Star Online 2 looked like. But I thought, oh, this looks prettier. There's a lot of parkour effects. It looks more expansive, like there's more stuff. And then it came up with the name New Genesis. And I was like, oh, this must be some kind of expansion or something. But it's way more than that. This is basically kind of Phantasy Star Online 3 or maybe 2.5.
It is an expansion, and at the same time, it's not an expansion. It really is.
It looks like it's a brand new game, but it lets you bring over stuff from the previous game, and it's not replacing the original game. It's going to be in addition to the original game.
It's weird. Yeah, people also likened it to Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn, which is
yeah.
which is not quite a fair comparison, because
No, I
that
suppose
is
not.
actually that actually replaced the original
Yeah.
version of Final Fantasy XIV, which
Hmm.
itself was such a sad joke that
Hmm.
Square Enix felt they had to nuke it and replace it with something better.
Yeah. This is a case of, I think this would probably be called 3 if 2 wasn't such a massive money spinner for Sega, like over the last 10 years in Japan specifically. I know it's only just come out in America this year, but it's been one of Sega's biggest things in the last 10 years.
Yeah, and
they don't want to
makes...
alienate that audience that they've built up and that massive community. Apparently, like, your character will transfer over, like your friends list will carry over, or a good chunk of stuff will carry over, but not everything, because they want you to still be able to play both games independently at the same time.
Yeah. And not to mention, they certainly wouldn't want to alienate Western fans, because we only just finally got Phantasy Star Online 2, even though after we were supposed to get it years ago. And you guys in Europe, you still don't have the game yet. You're getting it next year.
Yeah, I believe so.
So
yeah.
like that'd be Sega repeating their mistake with their 32X and the Saturn. No. Yeah, kinda.
I don't know, because I still feel like they're treating this like it's not. As I say, as we said, they're not replacing the original game. The fact that they've named it the same thing. It's just kind of
right.
It's a branding thing, isn't it? It's not like they don't want to alienate or put people off the original game. They want people to play both essentially. But from what I can tell, like when I actually looked at footage of the original game and then went back to the trailers of the new one, and this is clearly a whole new thing. It looks more open world. It's not like roughly because like the first Phantasy Star Online, it was almost essentially corridors. It looked like a big jungle, but it was mostly just like little door puzzles, and then you'd go through each little arena. And then the second one's a bit more expansive, but then this one looks like it's going for like Xenoblade Chronicles size like worlds. It looks gigantic.
Yeah, it did make me think of Xenoblade Chronicles X in particular.
Yeah, that's the vibe I got from it. Even when I was watching the trailer, I wasn't really sure what I was looking at. But even then, I was going, "Oh, it's a bit like it looks a bit like Xenoblade." A little bit. Also, like the battles seem to involve a lot more massive, time spongy bosses. So they're going for a little bit of a Monster Hunter-y vibe with it. So again, it's not because it's not replacing the original Phantasy Star Online 2. It's kind of like it's almost a spin-off, but. Yeah, because it looks like it's doing quite a few things differently.
And it's also kind of clever at the same time that they have each of these games running in tandem with each other, and you can bring your character between each of them. Because usually, when you have a game like this, like take for example, going back to Final Fantasy XIV, that's supposed to take after Final Fantasy XI. Both of those were also MMOs, but with 14 and subsequently A Realm Reborn, you couldn't bring anything over from Final Fantasy XI. You might have been playing for 11 non-stop since the day it launched, and now here's Square Enix telling you we're about to shut down 11 soon. Now you got to buy 14. You can't carry your stuff over. You got to start. Well, you kind of have to start over in New Genesis as well, but you do get to carry over your character in case you've grown attached to the character.
Yeah, exactly.
You couldn't do that with 11.
No.
Final Fantasy 11.
Yeah, no. It does sound like they're letting you transfer some stuff over, but anything that's like plot related, they want that to be. They don't want you to lose what you've done in the original game by pushing it over to the new one. They want you to be able to have both in tandem, and I think that's really smart. Actually, it's quite nice to see Sega pulling off something like this. Actually, it's actually kind of amazing. This might actually turn out to be like a really big next step for the franchise.
It is really neat. So the way it works is you can bring your character from Final Fantasy. God God damn it! I keep doing that.
They are
You
quite
can
similar
bring your
names.
character from. You can bring your character from Phantasy Star Online 2 over into New Genesis. So if you already made a character, you can just take them over, or you can make a new character in New Genesis, and even bring that new character back into OG
I think they're cross.
PSO2.
Yeah, they actually made them
And-
like cross-compatible.
Yeah, and you can bring over your outfits. You can bring over your mags, your mag evolution devices. So I can have my Genesis mag in New Genesis. Yeah, the old Genesis and the new Genesis. It's like the Old Testament and the New Testament.
Mhm.
But you can bring over your weapons. You can. I think that's about it, actually.
Yeah, I think there was. I think
you can't use the
mostly
same
stuff that involves money that they don't want you to bring over.
Yeah, you
Stuff that
can't
you
bring
have to
over the
purchase.
you can't bring over the Meseta or the fun points, but you can bring over the 2 premium currencies, the Arts Cash and the Star
okay.
Gems.
That's interesting. And
But it's
this
really
one's
nice
going to be free
because-
to play as well, considering how elaborate it looked in that trailer. When you go back to it, it's like this is like proper. This is probably one of the prettiest looking MMOs I've ever seen. You know, like they've really
they're making so much money hand over fist on this game. They don't need to worry about whether or not they should charge people. No, just make it free to play.
That's
It's
really
wonderful.
Cool. Yeah, I'm really excited to see where this goes if we ever get it in Europe. But you know, like it's nice
especially
to see that
since,
you know this 10+-year-old
and especially since
MMO's getting an upgrade in some fashion.
And especially since all of us players have spent so much time and, in some cases, money getting a bunch of outfits for our characters.
Yeah,
and we can
all
take
that
those
kind of
over
stuff.
to New Genesis. Like, I got, I actually got a, what is it called? I got this yukata, summer yukata outfit for my character in PSO2, so I can take that into New Genesis, and it's gonna look fantastic with the new graphics engine. Like, did we talk about that? How they're updating the graphics?
Yeah, I'm
we
pretty
did.
sure we did.
But-
yeah,
but they're also gonna bring that-
essentially next gen PSO. It's
And
like
they're
it's
going
a
to
proper
carry-
generational leap.
And they're gonna carry over the new graphics engine into the original PSO2 as well.
Yes, I heard about
So
that. I think,
really can't.
I'm curious
I
how
really
that's going
can't
to
wait
work.
to see that because
I really don't know how
'cause
that's
I had-
going to work.
I don't know either, but like I thought about it when I was playing PSO2. Like usually I don't think too much about it, but sometimes I can't help but notice how dated the game looks now.
I mean,
Because I keep forgetting
it's
this
an
game
old-ass
actually came
game.
out. Yeah, I keep forgetting this game came out in Japan in 2012, which just to put things into perspective, 2012 was 1 year before the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 launched. It was the same year that the Wii U launched.
I could have sworn it came out a couple of years before that, didn't it? Are you sure it wasn't 2010?
No, I'm pretty sure in Japan it came out in 2012.
Ah, fair enough.
And I
Right,
think-
okay.
And I think in America, and I think originally Sega of America implied the game was going to launch here in 2013.
I
and
remember
then-
them announcing that.
and then
yeah.
just-
and it just never
Yeah,
happened.
and then just radio silence for years and years.
That's
So,
why that
I
Xbox reveal was such a big shock when it originally came out. Like, what was it, last E3?
Yeah, so for people who haven't been following the development of PSO2 over the years, like maybe, I'm sure there's a lot of people who've never heard of the game until it was announced at Microsoft's E3 last year that it was coming here.
Yeah.
So I'm sure a lot of people were pretty shocked seeing how dated it was. And even if you did know about it, you probably forgot how long ago this game actually launched in Japan. So now the game is going to be at much better parity with most other games that come out now. And you know what? I really like how when they showed off the new graphics, they actually pointed out how characters can move their fingers now. In New Genesis.
I saw that. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like
which
it's like going from Virtua Fighter on the Saturn to Virtua Fighter on the arcades.
Yeah, it's almost like in Sonic Adventure, where you remember on the Dreamcast where
Yeah,
the characters' hands were just one block.
Yeah.
And then in every other version of the game after that, so the GameCube and the HD remasters, they made new character models for everyone, where they actually separated the characters' fingers, even though they still couldn't move their fingers.
Yeah.
And when I was playing PSO2, I didn't even notice at first that no one was actually moving their fingers.
I'm sure they're going to find ways to make emotes that specifically involve fingers. Just saying.
Yeah. I remember when I was watching that Kuna concert I was talking about earlier, people in the chat were also going, yeah, pretty soon Kuna will be able to move her fingers during the concert.
Ooh.
Well, I don't actually know if people will be moving their fingers in vanilla PSO2, but it would be nice if they did.
I am curious how they're gonna apparently upgrade the original game without completely, because that new Genesis is clearly a whole new engine. That is a completely different thing. That's a whole different beast. So I can't see them porting the original game into that engine. I reckon they'll probably just update the lighting and maybe up the polygon count on some things, maybe, but I can't see them making it look as good as New Genesis.
Probably. I remember hearing that PSO2. I remember hearing PSO2 actually uses the Hedgehog engine, which was originally developed for Sonic Unleashed. So it's
interesting.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure New Genesis is likely using the Hedgehog engine 2, which was made for Sonic Forces. Yeah. And also subsequently used for the new Sakura Wars game.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it goes well beyond the Hedgehog engine, because Hedgehog engine that was mostly like lighting and particle effects.
Yeah.
Because they wanted it to be able to work quickly around the speed at which Sonic Unleashed would typically have you going. Which is kind of redundant for Sakura Wars or PSO2, but it's still a damn good lighting engine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I guess that's that. That's coming out sometime, I believe, sometime next year. What's quite interesting is on the reveal, obviously they said it's Windows, Xbox One and Xbox Series X. But if you look on the Japanese stuff, it is actually coming to the PlayStation 4 over there. And they're also going to be putting it on the Switch via the cloud service they've got over there.
Yep.
Yeah. So, like, obviously that's not going to apply to us in any way because we never got the Switch version of vanilla PSO2. But maybe one day, I don't know if that's even a thing that's possible. I think this cloud solution is all they've got for now. I don't think they really fancy porting the entire thing over to Switch. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. But I'll be happy with the PC version.
If they couldn't do that with the original PSO, I doubt that would be possible with New Genesis, having a native Switch version.
And as we've mentioned before, with like the whole, when Sega announced that fog gaming thing for arcades, Japan's a much smaller country. They can do cloud gaming much easier than places like America and places in Europe could, because it's a small, very condensed, like a lot of cities that are very well packed. Like they can do cloud gaming much smoother than we probably could at this time.
Yeah, and over here, especially in America, that's a whole different ballpark.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I did notice that on the website for where they talk about New Genesis, they also said that if they do bring Phantasy Star Online to other platforms beyond Xbox and Windows, they'll make sure to put New Genesis on it as well.
Yeah,
they're not. I think they're not leaving out the possibility.
It's a timed exclusive. So I think the PS4 version will show up over here eventually.
Yeah, or PS5. I'm sure they're. It's nice that they said that they're leaving the door open to have it on other platforms.
Oh,
and that New Genesis will be there.
Yeah, I think that's very likely, actually.
But what's nice is that, as I mentioned before, PSO2 comes to Europe next year. So it seems likely that, I don't know exactly when it's coming to you next year, probably in the springtime. I'm sure by then New Genesis will be available, so you're likely to have it immediately.
Yeah, maybe. It depends how far along with New Genesis they are, It might be a late 2021 game, we don't know yet, but either way, that's that. That's New Genesis. While the Xbox thing was going on, this was really annoying to me because usually I don't watch the pre-show things that come up with like these big streams. I just think, oh, well, I'm just going to focus on the actual thing because I don't know when the pre-show started and all that. So I just had the countdown thing sitting on my computer for like 30 minutes while I was setting up and getting on Discord and all that kind of stuff. And then when it started and Halo was playing and stuff, CherryT said to me, she was like, "Oh, did you see that 3D platformer or something or other?" And I had headphones on, so I didn't hear everything she said. And I was like, "There hasn't been any 3D platformers, just Halo so far." And I watched the whole thing, and it was all right. You know, it was fine. It had that New Genesis reveal. It had a few other cool little bits. But as soon as it finished, and as soon as we finished that live stream, you said to me again, "Are you sure they didn't show the 3D platformer? That's by Yuji Naka." And I was like, "What?" What? No, they did not bloody show this thing that I would have actually been super hyped for. But yeah, so some time ago, I think it was last year, Yuji Naka announced that he was moving into Square Enix. And I just...
Oh yeah, he did say that.
Yes.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I just assumed this meant he would be working on, like, their games, you know, just making stuff with them, being like a consultant on stuff or working on Final Fantasy or something like that. I just thought it would mean he'd just be doing that and it would be like he'll be in the credits of a random Square game, and I thought that would be it. But no, apparently he's been cooking up something, and they revealed it on Thursday. Funnily enough, one day after that Jet Set Radio spiritual successor got announced, we get what may as well be, but isn't really, but also kind of is, aesthetically anyway, a Nights into Dreams spiritual revival. So he has set up a studio called Balan Company, which even the logo makes it look like Sonic Team a little bit. It's like he's his own not Sonic Team. And he's actually got Naruto Urashima back in again to do character designs, and they are creating a game called Balan, was it the Balan Wonderworld?
Balan Wonderland.
Balan Wonderland.
I think it's
Balan
Wonderworld.
I think it's Wonderworld. I made the mistake on the tweet that it's Wonderland, but and then when I tried to Google it turns out everyone else is calling it Wonderland as well. It is Wonderworld.
Wait, what? Is this one of those Mandela effect things, like with the bears?
It already is, yeah. It already is. I honestly thought it was Wonderland.
We only knew about this game for less than a week, and we're already having a Mandela effect problem.
That's Yuji Naka for you. I don't know. Or that's like, maybe it's like a crazy dream. So yeah, this game is when I say it's like a spiritual successor to Nights into Dreams, it's more of an aesthetic thing than anything. It's not really, like, gameplay wise, it's something else entirely. It's generally a 3D platformer. In the traditional sense, you've got like these two human characters that can run around, and it's kind of got like a bit of a Mega Man element to it, where you're like getting power-ups that you get like costumes that give you all different powers. But everything else about the presentation, the music, the character designs is Nights into Dreams AF. And I don't know why, but this specific style just suits Square so much. Like, I'm not surprised he's ended up getting a game like this approved at Square, because it is something that Square would do so much. It's that corny, like, earnestness that Nights into Dreams sort of had. Even the theme tune that plays in the Balan trailer just sounds like a song out of Nights into Dreams. It's got the corny vocals. It's got like the really corny voiceover for the trailer that sounds like the Disney DVD guy, like the Disney Fast Play guy specifically. You've got Disney Fast Play, you know, that guy. He sounds like him. And yeah, there's like this jester clown character who may as well just be legally distinct knights, but with like a big top hat. And instead of being like about like these two humans like dreams, this is about like what's in their hearts or something. It's like a world within people's hearts. So this really is just
Kingdom Hearts.
It's both Kingdom Hearts and legally distinct. That's what I mean. That's why it makes so much sense that this is that Square Enix.
Except if Square Enix made this themselves, it'd be an RPG.
Yeah, true. It's cool to see Square doing something a bit different. Like, it's cool that they brought Yuji Naka in and didn't just have him work on their games. They actually, got him to. He must have pitched a game to them, and they're like, okay, yeah, you can set up a studio for that. Apparently, the developers of this game, like the actual development team, I forget their name, but I think they're a team that Naruto Ishima's basically set up. They're the guys that design. This is going to make it sound. It's not Artoon. It's I think they're called like Azure or something like that. But they developed this. This is the only part that's a little bit like, hopefully this turns out all right, but who knows? They developed New Yoshi's Island on the 3DS.
Mhm.
Oh wait, yeah, I know who you're talking about now.
Yeah, that's
That's right. They did make that game.
I think they made a few other games for Nintendo on the DS and the 3DS and stuff like that. So
I think they made Yoshi's Woolly World as well, or Yoshi's Crafted World.
That's Good Feel.
Oh no, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, that's the only part of this that I'm a little bit. What's quite funny to me as well, everything about the trailer just screamed like old Sega in a lot of ways. Specifically Nights into Dreams. There's even bits where the characters are flying through hoops of spears. It's like, oh come on. But everything about it looks slightly janky, but in a good way, if that makes sense. It looks like something that would come out on the Dreamcast. If that makes sense. This has actually been announced, even though it was at the start of the Xbox stream. I think the reason they didn't put it in the main event is it's not a timed exclusive. It's basically coming to everything. It's coming to PS4, 5, Switch, Xbox One,
coming to
PC,
Switch, yeah.
Blah blah blah. They actually put out a separate version of the trailer on Nintendo's YouTube, which is the exact same gameplay but running through the Switch, so you can actually see what the difference is. I think it runs at half the frame rate. It's not 60. Some of the texture work is a little bit muddier and stuff like that. It's cool that they did that low, so you're not going into it expecting the Switch one to look anything like the the current gen or the higher end console versions. They actually cut the trailer in the exact same way, but just using in-game Switch assets. I wish more companies were honest like that. Actually just straight up showed you what each version's going to look like.
Yeah, that would certainly be helpful.
Yeah, so I'm just really curious about this. I don't know if it's going to be a great game or anything yet. It's kind of hard to say. It's early days. There's literally one trailer, but I'm still I'm still excited nonetheless, just because Naruto Ishima character design, and it's basically the closest thing we're going to get to a new Nights into Dreams, even if gameplay-wise it's nothing like it.
Well, just like that Cyberpunk game from last week, it really got people's attention the minute it was shown.
Yeah, I was completely bloody oblivious to it the whole time I was watching that Xbox thing. No one mentioned it in the chat, nothing. It was just I didn't know about it until afterwards. I just heard CherryT just saying, "Oh, it's a platformer."
But it was one of the But it was one of the few games that everybody online was talking about after that whole thing.
Yeah. As soon as I turned the
people weren't talking about
off.
People weren't talking about the medium or most of the other stuff that was in the Xbox.
I mean,
thing.
that's
That's
probably just our specific circle of Twitter friends. To be fair, we've got a lot of Sega fans in our Twitter feed, so that's going to be the case, isn't it?
My Twitter feed's a lot more diverse, but this is what I've been seeing.
Ooh, did you hear that? Far more diverse than yours.
My Twitter feed's much better.
That's what it was.
My Twitter feed's much better than your Twitter feed.
So yeah, I just thought that the last, especially going into what we're going to go into after this, the last 48 hours, the last 3 or 4 days, maybe 3 or 4 days, have just been crazy. I know we only did a podcast on Wednesday last week, but there's just been so much this week. We literally only talked about 2 things, but I don't know. There's a very specific thing that we may as well go straight into, which is basically going to be our main topic, and we're going to be talking about it a while. Is what's been happening for the last few days. Right, how do I how do I even quantify this whole thing? So basically, we've talked about this on the podcast in previous episodes a few months back, because this stuff has been going on for quite a few months now, like pretty much most of this year. I think the first lot of this stuff was in like March or something, but
I think so.
Yeah,
I feel like we didn't have much to talk about regarding these compared to what we're about to talk about right now.
yeah, no. So when they first started leaking, basically there's been the thumbnail gives it away, kind of, but also like it's impossible to get away from if you are in any kind of like gaming scene at the moment for the last couple of days. This is all you'll be hearing about. So there's been basically what they're calling a Nintendo Gigaleak, and this is like maybe the third part of many parts of this that are slowly being leaked out. It's basically 2 terabytes of data, which we have so far only seen 100 gigabytes of. So there's still a lot more to come, and obviously if they're getting into later gen stuff, I should probably go into how this actually came about, because how it came about is a little bit, like it's a bit of a mixed. Yeah, I've got mixed feelings about how this was like got. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The ethics.
It definitely, it definitely wasn't acquired legally. Yeah, we talked about this last time we talked about these leaks.
Oh, did we? I can't remember,
we mentioned
it was essentially
we mentioned
stolen.
we mentioned the whole legality of this whole thing, because we were talking about how last time they leaked the source codes for a lot of game systems, like the GameCube, the Wii, the iQ, and a lot of people thought that emulator authors were going to take advantage of this, and we were telling people, no, they don't want to use any of this, because that's going to be asking for Nintendo to come at them full force with legal action, because they wouldn't be. It's not like Nintendo gave them this source code or like made it open source and said, "Here, go nuts." No, if they're using that, they're making use of stolen assets. That's bad.
Yeah. Well, basically, to probably elaborate on how it actually happened. So the attack happened in 2016, and basically the content has been sat on for a few years by some people, and now it's just like being trickled out via 4chan, I believe. But it was actually security researchers from Malwarebytes.
Oh yeah.
And they hacked the server.
Malwarebytes.
Yeah, Malwarebytes.
Yeah.
It was basically 2 people that worked for them. They hacked the servers of a company called Broadon, who are part of Acer currently, but they helped Nintendo set up the iQ stuff that they've got in China. So this was essentially them going through Broadon to basically hack the iQ servers, and they found this. They basically just backed up everything they found and just stole, as I say, 2 terabytes worth of data. And apparently the people that were caught, they were trialed. They didn't actually go to jail for it, but they did end up losing their jobs, and they'll probably never get jobs in security ever again, because I don't think that's going to look good on your CV, is it? Worked at a security firm, stole 2 terabytes of Nintendo stuff while there. Yeah, that's not.
Hope
that's
they
not
got
gonna
other
go down
skills.
Yeah. Oh, who knows? But yeah, obviously not going into the logistics of that. But this week they basically dropped the motherload. This is like the biggest drop of prototypes and unused content and source codes and everything you could possibly imagine. Almost everything is here.
Man.
Like this is almost. It's been overwhelming. Like I've been watching this thing like 24/7 while working on my animation. I've just been F5ing on Reset Error and on Twitter just to see what new stuff comes along, and it's just been bonkers. Like I don't even know how to describe it. There's just so much. Like it started with Super Nintendo stuff, didn't it?
It'd be even better if it was acquired legally, but it is so beautiful to look at.
There's just so much. Like we are literally looking at the biggest treasure trove of video game history that has ever been dropped in one day.
Oh man, and the memes that came from it.
Oh yeah.
Oh damn.
Yeah. Well, let me just find the list of what was first brought out. So basically, I'm going to pop up a window if I can. There we go. So yeah, it had some more prototype and source codes for like some Pokemon games, Diamond and Pearl. There was a bunch of like beta sprites and stuff amongst all that stuff. Some unused Pokemon, stuff like that. There was. Let me have a look. Source code for Star Fox and Star Fox 2, source code for Link's Awakening Deluxe, Link's Awakening Deluxe bug reports, source code for Wild Tracks, or what's the
Stunt
English
Race
name?
Effects
That's the
for
one.
North America.
That's it. Source code to F-Zero, source code to Mario Kart, source code to Yoshi's Island, source code to Link to the Past, source code to Super Mario All-Stars, including Mario World, source code for a Game Boy emulator to the Wii. So apparently at some point they were planning to maybe do Game Boy stuff on the Virtual Console, the Wii. Super Mario
maybe
Kart
they used that for the.
prototypes.
They used that Game Boy emulator for the Kirby Dream Collection.
Yeah, maybe.
Because that had the 3 Kirby's Dream Land games on it, 2 of which were for the Game Boy.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah, maybe that's where that got used.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the only use of Game Boy games officially being available to play on Wii.
Yeah, you're probably absolutely right on that. I have actually got that collection. So yeah, it started with like I don't even know how to begin. Like the first thing that popped out in video form and screenshot form was a super early prototype of Yoshi's Island, which at this point was called Super Mario Bros. 5. This is already, like, as soon as these videos started popping out, it's like Baby Mario doesn't cry in a bubble, he just crawls around and doesn't cry and be annoying. The levels are incredibly early, all the music is from Mario World. This is like, remember how absolutely mad that Sonic 3 prototype was and how sort of crazy that was? That had nothing on this. Like, this is so early. Like, most of the mechanics are not there, or they're completely different. The egg throwing's completely different. There's just so much that's just completely different. And then there was a video for something called Super Donkey. And this is probably my personal favourite thing to come out of this, because it's essentially just a completely different game we never got. But judging from the evidence and what we know in the history of things, this could be both this game, or this prototype ROM that came out, that's titled as Super Donkey, is both the pitch to Donkey Kong Country and Yoshi's Island. This is basically the missing link to both of those games, because basically Nintendo were looking for a way to revive Donkey Kong, and Nintendo of Japan came up with a pitch, which is this game, which is this Super Donkey thing, and obviously Rare came along with their pitch, and they ended up going with that pitch. But what Nintendo of Japan made eventually evolved into Yoshi's Island. So this is quite wild, this ROM in particular. I'll see if I can bring up some stuff of it, because I've basically got some links up. I'm basically just trying to find all the stuff is everywhere. It's hard to like find one page that has everything. So excuse me if I'm being a bit scatterbrain here, but there it is. Right, I'll bring it up on the stream so people can actually see it. So yeah, this character has like a limbless character with like goggles and a little like aviation hat. He can climb on things. He can if you got like a little power bar, and if you charge it while you're in the air, you can just fly around, and it just like lets you fly through all the scenery, and it kind of reminds me of Nights into Dreams, funny enough, when he's flying around. Some people were theorising this character could be Mario, and I think there are assets in the ROM that show that at one point he was Mario. But then some people also saying it could be Stanley from Donkey Kong 3.
Yeah, someone
or it
did
could
say
just be an
Stanley.
original character. It could be anything. But the fact that he's limbless was quite amusing to me as well. When they first showed it, I was like, is that you, Rayman? I was like, what? Or Plock, I suppose. Like, it could also be Plock or Dynamite Heady. You know, there was a lot of people were experimenting with sprites, segmented sprite characters back then, and I suppose Nintendo were amongst them.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see if we can get up some more stuff of it. Yeah, so this is probably my favourite thing to come out of it. There was also another game amongst it called Sleep. I think some people were getting it confused. Yeah, I think some people were getting it confused with the Super Donkey ROM, but it's actually a separate thing entirely. Most of the graphics when you try to play it are completely garbled, but people have found the sprites within the ROM. And essentially, I think this is a early prototype of Mario and Wario, because it seems to involve a character that's sleepwalking around, and you have to shoot things around him using the SNES mouse, because people found it was compatible with the mouse, and they could just about kind of play it. So this could be, because you know in Mario and Wario, you had Mario with like a bucket on his head, and you couldn't see where he was going. In this, it's like a sleepwalking character in like a pajama set. So I think that's what this is, but it was just
that is
sleep.
really
That
is really interesting.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's almost too much. Like I could go through this stuff. Then people started going through early builds of Mario World, and they found this Yoshi, or they found various Yoshis. They found basically the entire evolution line of Yoshi, like every step that they went through to design this character. He started as this freaky, lanky thing. He eventually got smaller, and eventually they put the big bulbous nose on him. And I'm just surprised they even did all this stuff in sprite form and fully animated it before they got to the final design. You'd think they'd do that all on paper, but I suppose they needed to see how it worked in the engine and whether they had the memory to do it and stuff like that. So maybe it was like memory limitations that stopped him being this lanky streak of piss. But
reminds me of that lanky Mario from Super Mario Maker 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
I feel
yeah,
like
I
that. I
remember
feel
that
like
now.
that's his Yoshi. That's his personal Yoshi.
Yeah.
That Super Donkey game. They also found straight up classic Donkey Kong looking sprites in it. They turned out when they put the palettes on, it isn't actually Donkey Kong's color scheme, but it may as well be Donkey Kong looking at him. The Super Mario World stuff is also just wild. There's potentially hundreds of things you could talk about here. There's all these different unused enemies. There's this ridiculous Peach.
Yeah.
I love her. She's just with a crazy mouth. In case you were wondering what was going on with CherryT in the thumbnail, that's what that's referring
when you were drawing. Sorry. When you were drawing the thumbnail and you were asking for some suggestions, I thought of that.
Yeah. Because
it reminds me of there was that bit in Who Framed Roger Rabbit where Valiant was almost closing in on Jessica Rabbit, but it turned out to be some crazy cartoon lady.
Oh yeah, it reminds me of
Mario.
They found an old man Yoshi. They found Bowser sprites where he actually has his full body and he isn't just in a clown car. Like he's got his legs, like full body Bowser.
Wow.
Like
I didn't see the old man Yoshi.
Literally just earlier today, they actually found and managed to get working the actual sprite editor that Nintendo used to make sprites. So now they can actually fuel this stuff with the correct palettes because they have the actual software that they use to make these sprites. That's how insane this is getting. Speaking of missing links, they also found a Super FX 3D Yoshi, which was supposedly developed by Argonaut. They've even managed to get an animation of it working. This could We don't know for sure because obviously there's nothing saying either way. But this could be Argonaut's pitch for a Super FX Yoshi game that eventually became Croc.
Oh, that might be what it is.
Possibly.
Yeah, I almost
or
forgot
just
Croc.
a test. There's basically loads of Super FX models that were found, including a really rudimentary Link. That's like, super flat shaded, basic. Yeah, even that is probably pushing the SNES a bit too far. Like in terms of like doing FX 3D, that'd probably run out about 5 frames per second. But the fact that they even tried.
It is so freaky looking, and at the same time, so fascinating.
Yeah. They also.
And you know what? Actually,
go on.
I just remembered this. I remember Shigeru Miyamoto confirmed once that Super Mario 64 was originally conceived as a Super Nintendo game using the Super FX chip. And I wonder if maybe that's what that Yoshi thing was made for.
I mean, who knows? Like, maybe. Speaking of things that Miyamoto said in interviews before, once he mentions that originally, when Baby Mario goes Super in Yoshi's Island, he was originally going to turn it into Mario, like grown-up Mario. They found those sprites, so that's confirmed.
Oh my god.
This just keeps going. This keeps going. I could go on all night about this stuff. There's a prototype.
Yeah, you already named a bunch of things I didn't even see yet.
Yeah, I've literally just got Unseen64 on Twitter up on the stream just so people can see some of the stuff that's going on. There's a prototype of Pilot Wings called Dragonfly, which has completely different sprites and is a completely different game essentially. Let me see, what else was there? Oh yeah, look at this super blocky Link. That's great. I love it. They also found because there was a load of Star Fox prototypes and source code and stuff. They found loads of unused characters from Star Fox, didn't they? Including including a human character, which was really surprising. It would have been the only human character in Star Fox.
There was a black girl.
Yeah,
Star Fox.
Would this have been technically one of Nintendo's first like POC characters in a way? Yeah, outside of like Punch Out and stuff. And there was also a few other Star Fox characters. Well, I don't know about the exacts of it, but the fact that they had this, this game that didn't even end up coming out until the SNES Mini anyway, like, this is like cut content from an already cut game, in a way, essentially, when you think about it. And like, we're learning even more about Star Fox 2 that we didn't already know.
We've had betas and prototypes of this game that leaked years before the SNES Classic.
Yeah.
We didn't see anything about a black human girl being in the game, or even this other girl, which I'm guessing is a llama or something.
Yeah, and there's even like images that suggest that Andros wasn't even going to be the villain in this one, but maybe like this T-Rex character. On the stream right now, I've got a photo of a GameCube controller with basically a big circuit board sticking out of it. This is a photo of a prototype Wii remote. Yep.
Well, just the circuit board.
Wait, it's a GameCube controller with a circuit board coming out?
Yep, yeah, it's basically the infrared, like the infrared part coming out of it. So they were basically testing out motion controls and pointer controls with a GameCube controller just to test it out. Yeah, so the Super Mario World stuff and the Star Fox stuff and the Yoshi's Island stuff, and obviously there's loads of unused Pokemon. One of my I got to say, probably one of my absolute favourite things to come out of this is full quality versions, uncompressed versions of all the voice work from Star Fox 64. Oh, that's so good. Yes. And F-Zero as well. Some of them have even not got the filters on them. So like any like effects that they put on the characters' voices, you've just got the pure recording.
There's also the voice lines from Super Mario 64.
Yes.
So, like all the voice lines that Charles Martinet recorded for Mario.
Yeah.
So like the first thing people realize is they finally have the uncompressed line where he goes, "So long, Gay Bowser," because that's been a meme for That's been a meme for years.
I
Because it
linked
sounds
to
like
that
he's
on the
saying
Discord.
gay Bowser.
One thing that's going on while this is all going on is there's been a few trolls that have been making stuff up, and one of those was that sample. Unfortunately, that tweet that showed the full quality.
Wait,
version
seriously? That
Yeah,
wasn't real?
that was made by someone. That was made by someone
Oh
else.
man.
Yeah, there's some of that going on.
Serious?
Yeah, some of that's been going on.
Damn it.
I have literally seen people taking the Mario World sprite sheets that are coming out and just chucking in a sprite of Big Chungus and going, "Oh, I love this sprite sheet," and it's like, yeah, all right.
Oh.
You know.
Oh man, that's
But
such a downer.
Another fascinating one is this super early test for Mario Kart 64, where it kind of looks like Virtua Racing a little bit, because it's just like really flat shaded polygons, and they're still using the Super Mario Kart sprites as the characters. It's like their literal earliest tests of a racing game, I guess. This was like Nintendo's primordial soup of Mario Kart. Speaking of Mario Kart, they also just very recently found sprites of Super Mario Kart that are not Mario. They're just a guy in a helmet in a go-kart, a generic go-kart. So Mario Kart was almost not a Mario game at some point.
That's another thing Miyamoto talked about once, where originally the game was supposed to have just generic go-kart racers that throw barrels and oil around, and then Miyamoto told them to take advantage of the items more, and then and when they started experimenting with those more, that's when they decided to make it with Mario characters instead of just generic racers.
Yeah, so it's another thing that's basically been confirmed by this leak. Like, basically been confirmed. So yeah, the first day, the first 24 hours of this leak was essentially mostly Super Nintendo stuff. But then the really big one came. This is probably the big highlight of this. This is what everyone's talking about. This is why Andrew has a Luigi hat. So N64 stuff started popping out. Unfortunately, there was source code for stuff like Majora's Mask and Link, Zelda 64, the 64 games. But most of the source code was basically missing. Like, most of the files were empty, so there wasn't that much to work with. In the case of the Zelda stuff, they did find some unused prototype levels and stuff, but there wasn't tons of stuff there. There wasn't like a playable build, just a bunch of like bits and bobs. But then they got into the Mario 64 stuff and they found a Luigi folder. And they found his voice. They found him sneezing. They found a couple voice samples, including one of him sneezing. It is the earliest recorded audio of Luigi, distinctively different from Mario. They also found the textures. They found his 3D model. And within no time whatsoever, people were scrambling together to rebuild him. They have the technology. They rebuilt him and they ported him back into Mario 64.
Yeah, and this also fed into another kind of a meme, but it's a rumor where where people saw this message that turned out to not be on one of
This isn't even a meme. This is a friggin' ancient legend. This is like one of the oldest.
Yeah, well, it's a meme now.
Oh, it's one of the oldest myths in Nintendo history.
So
basically, it's a rather
in the courtyard of Peach's castle, there was this statue, and there was a message which just had a bunch of gibberish on it. But
it's just a blurry
people
texture,
looked closely at it, and they could have sworn that it said "L is real" or something like that.
Yeah, L is real 2401. That was what people summed it up as, and this is like one of the oldest Nintendo like urban myths that has ever existed. Like, ever since the game came out, people were looking at it and going, is this something to do with Luigi? Does that mean he's going to unlock in the year 2401? Is this some kind of like weird unlockable thing? And then obviously it turned out it wasn't a real thing. Again, in an interview, an interview that was for the longest time untranslated, and in a Mario 64 guidebook, he did actually mention that they tried to implement Luigi and a 2-player mode into Mario 64. and it turned out they just couldn't get the camera working, and they couldn't get it to work smoothly without the frame rate tanking and stuff like that. So that's why they didn't go ahead with it. And they almost did a sequel on the 64DD that would have included this, but they just chose to not go ahead with it. So yeah, this basically again proves that something that they dabbled in was actually officially dabbled in, because they actually found the files and they rebuilt him. They made Luigi. Let me see if I can get some of the stuff up for that.
What do you know? Shigeru Miyamoto doesn't lie when he talks about stuff that almost happened in games that he worked on.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, this was literally the biggest news out of this whole thing, was finding Luigi, like all of his assets, and he's in there. You know, it's they even found like copyright documentation files that titled the game as Ultra 64 Mario Brothers. That was its original title, and there's even assets in one of the prototypes of 3D text that says Ultra, so that was the title for a short while. Ultra 64 Mario Brothers.
Yeah, because that's what they were originally going to call the system, the Nintendo Ultra 64.
Of course, yeah.
That's what they famously advertised it as in Killer Instinct, the arcade game.
Yeah. There's even a document amongst this that tells you the exact date that they started working on Mario 64 and the exact date that they finished it. It was started sometime late 1994. So that's kind of interesting. So yeah, we've got... There is actually quite a lot of Zelda stuff, actually. Quite a lot of like early screenshots that show prototype levels actually have been found. But yeah, I think nothing's going to top...
That's right.
Here's that document. Here it is. Is it this one? Oh yeah, original program, September 7th, 1994 to May 20th, 1996. Yeah. So we've even got that.
That's the start and end date for development of Super Mario 64?
Yep. That's exactly how long it took to make it.
Oh, yeah.
That's some stuff.
Very interesting.
Like, I just live for this stuff. This is really like... I haven't been able to keep my eyes off this for the whole time this has been going on. Like the Zelda 64 stuff isn't really my scene, because I've never really played Ocarina of Time or any of that. But like this Mario stuff, and yeah, like for example, they found all the F-Zero X voices without the filters on. You go, oh right, first place, like full quality, and
I didn't even hear that. That was cool. I heard this. I heard the unfiltered Star Fox 64 lines. I didn't know about the F-Zero X voices.
Yep. I think one of my favourite things that they found in F-Zero in particular was, for some reason, there was a texture of Beavis. It's just like a photo of a toy of Beavis's head was just in the F-Zero files. It's like, okay, this is here. And you get this, but you also get an inverted one. A stretched inverted one.
Oh, that's nearly up there with how...
I'm in F-Zero X. That's cool.
That's nearly up there with how somewhere in the far reaches of the files for Rayman M, there was like a placeholder image that's of like Jeff Goldblum.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and in one of the Mario Kart arcade games, I remember in the texture files there was a photo from some terrorist attack somewhere of some victims being rescued or something like that. I forget exactly what it was.
So they found a logo for the early name for Star Fox 64. It was originally going to be called Star Fox: The Cosmic Crisis. There's also
Cosmic Crisis.
Yeah, there's also they've also found the original name for the Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. I think it was going to be called Dreaming Island.
I think so, something like that.
Dreaming Island.
Yeah, that was the original name that they found in the sprites.
Oh, well, that name might have been a bit of a spoiler if they stuck with that.
Yeah, that would have totally been a spoiler. The thing that probably annoys Nintendo the most about this is, and probably game developers in general, is if they don't use an idea, it tends to sometimes come up later. For
Mhm.
example,
Mhm.
you know the juice meter for Yoshi in Mario Sunshine?
Yeah,
That was found in Mario World. That exact mechanic.
the first Mario World.
Yeah, in
Mhm.
Mario
The
World,
first?
yeah. Yeah, they actually found a
Oh.
sprite of a juice meter with a percentage on it and like some
you,
form of stomach meter. So
Okay,
Oh,
it's kind of looks like
know
a
what?
bladder.
yeah, it's more like
I
a
didn't-
bladder than anything.
I
but
didn't
yeah.
even think about that. Where they might be holding on to this because they don't want other people taking some of the ideas they came up with in case they want to
Exactly,
use them
yeah.
at a future date.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, because
exactly what it is.
there's
yeah.
a lot of Nintendo games that use ideas they came up with a long time ago, but couldn't use them before because of like stuff like hardware restraints, for example. Like the chicken walker thing from Star Fox 2, they ended up using that in Star Fox 0.
Mm.
This was before they finally actually released Star Fox 2 in the SNES Classic.
Yeah, exactly. I think the most obscure one of those I've seen is in that Super Donkey game with like the limbless character. When you do a stomp with him, like these little clouds of smoke with like faces come out with like little teeth. That was reused essentially or referenced in Mario Maker 2. When you when you're in Mario 1 Star, when you get in one of those big lady shoes, and if you do a stomp with that, it does the same thing with the little clouds of faces.
Oh my gosh.
So there's actually a reference to Super Donkey in Mario Maker 2.
Yeah, I guess now we have some context for that.
Yeah, exactly. It's just they definitely repurpose ideas like over the years. Like oh god, yeah, there's a proper video here of the early 3D Link. That's quite fascinating. The fact that that might be a tech demo N64 thing, or it might be a Super FX thing. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I did see that. I know what you're talking about.
They
And they showed a lot of stuff from.
oh, sorry. Go on.
They showed a lot of stuff from what I believe is Ura Zelda, where it was their original idea for Zelda on the Nintendo 64, where originally it wasn't supposed to be an open world thing. It was supposed to be where Link starts the game in Ganondorf's castle and he goes to different areas via some magic paintings located in different places, like the paintings in Peach's castle in Mario 64. It was originally done that way because they thought they would be limited by the hardware in the N64, but then they found a way to make it work with the open world.
Yeah. They also found.
Yeah, so they.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah. Sorry, I keep interrupting.
It's fine.
So they showed what looks like was probably meant to be Ganondorf's castle with all the paintings everywhere, and not to mention they found an Octorok enemy, a beta Octorok, which was meant to be in Ocarina of Time, and then someone actually ported it into the actual game, where it doesn't work quite right, but they managed to make it work in the game somewhat.
Yeah, the fact that the stuff's even compatible in some fashion, that they can still find a way to actually see it running within the game. There has actually been quite a few bits of Zelda stuff, despite the fact that most of the source code was basically empty. They still managed to find a load of stuff. They also found some side-scrolling sprites for Link, like amongst the Link to the Past stuff. So maybe at some point there was going to be side-scrolling elements in that. And some of the sprites for that are really nice. Like they've got really nice animation.
It's interesting. It's like they might have originally thought to make the game more like Zelda 2, but then at some point they decided to make it more like Zelda 1.
Yeah.
Or it could have been a mix of both. We don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say, isn't it? Just trying to think what else. Like, there's literally... I don't think this is confirmed yet, because they said there's a source code for Mario All-Stars. Yeah, they reckon this has the source code to Super Mario Brothers. Maybe it might have,
What, like
because because they're using the source
from
code.
the NES game.
Yeah, because they're most likely using the NES source code and porting it to the SNES. So they've gone through the All Stars code and they're looking at all the code and they're like, this kind of looks like NES code. This could be, and it actually says like the year 1985 on it. I think it said.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh wow!
they might even have
that
the
would
source
make
code
sense.
to Super Mario Brothers. Maybe, I don't know. I don't think this is
Whoa.
100% confirmed yet, but we might be at that point. So yeah, obviously we could go on about this stuff all day. There's tons of stuff. Like going into some of the stuff that's been less documented. There's also some third party stuff in here. There's a prototype of Super Castlevania 4, which has really early kind of bad versions of the music. It's got loads of the mechanics are missing in that as well. It's quite an early build. Some of the levels are just not finished yet and they just kind of end. And yeah, the main standout with that is the music. It's just really unfinished. So yeah, there's quite a few Konami games amongst it. I think there was a couple copies of the SNES version of Street Fighter 2 in there.
Yeah, I think there was also some stuff from Mega Man X, right?
I think so.
I think
don't
I
know
heard
if
something like that.
Yeah, I think so. There is definitely some like third-party stuff amongst it as well. Because funnily enough, this whole thing just emphasizes just how much Nintendo holds on to and preserves all their stuff. Obviously, they didn't mean for it all to get leaked out like this. They were probably just hoarding it. But the fact that they even had all this stuff in any capacity is better than most developers. Right down to the fact that apparently the collection of mana is exclusive to Switch because they had to get the source code from Nintendo because Square Enix didn't have it.
Oh, is that what? Wait, they needed the source code for that? I assume they.
I think they
well,
needed the source code for free so they could translate it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They had to translate it. Yeah.
So
Like,
yeah,
they
that
couldn't just-
that really tells you
They
something.
probably couldn't just.
doesn't it?
They probably couldn't just go into the ROM and just add whatever they wanted, like ROM hackers typically do. Oh, you know what? They would have had to fix the graphic for the title. in that
Exactly.
game.
Yeah, exactly.
'Cause, like-
so it's
'cause,
not
like,
just
even
a
in
ROM
the
hack.
fin-
You can't just ROM
Yeah,
hack
so-
that.
Yeah, so even in the fan translation I have, where it's still being called Secret of Mana 2, the title graphic still says Seiken Densetsu 3,
Yeah.
because they can't actually change that.
Mm.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense now.
Yeah, exactly. Again, just like missing links all being connected, all the dots are being connected. In some way, it takes away some of the mystique of some of this stuff, but at the same time, like, it's just really cool to see all this stuff like that was just like urban myth get confirmed in some fashion.
Yeah.
As I said
You know
earlier, go on.
What I really like is that they also found some of the box graphics arts.
Yes, I love that. Like the actual
yeah, they
source
found
files, the Photoshop and the Illustrator files for some of this stuff.
Yeah, they found. Yeah, so like they found the artwork for the Super Mario 64 box without the title put in yet. They found the high res art for the cartridge for Super Mario 64 and Star Fox 64.
Yeah, that's
so
cool.
like. Yeah, I actually want to redraw the Star Fox 64 cartridge art.
That'd be
because
cool.
it just looks really nice.
Yeah, it's so like it's nice to have these nice high res versions. Like they've even got stuff that was in the instruction manuals in insanely high resolution. Stuff that was in like the Ocarina of Time manual, just blown up to sizes that you never would have noticed any little details.
Man. That reminds me. They also had the box art from Ocarina of Time in there. Yeah, there's probably a lot more of that stuff that I haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
I really just want... That's what I want to peruse through the most. As strange as it might be.
No, I don't blame you. That's really cool. It kind of reminds me of when Sega's FTP servers from quite a few years back were, I guess, I don't know if they were like just raided of all the
Sega
assets.
had...
Well, it wasn't
Sega
like
had?
it was just like an E3 FTP, so it was just like promotional stuff, and it was like box arts and screenshots and stuff like that. I still have that stuff somewhere, but it was basically super high resolution versions of some of the Dreamcast box arts and stuff, and it was kind of cool.
Oh, that is cool. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the time that someone found a diskette or something that had it had a bunch of Sega Channel ROMs. It had it had a lot of development kit tools for Sega CD, Sega 32X, Sega Saturn.
Yeah.
And then the guys who made Tanglewood, they actually made use of the Sega CD code in order to help them develop that game.
Yeah.
Because it was compatible with the actual Genesis development kit that they were using.
Yes. Yeah, that's totally true. I guess we should probably... There's just one element of this whole leak that I don't really agree with. Obviously, the fact that it's been stolen is not good. Like, usually when this prototype stuff comes out, it's a case of the studio gave one of their staff a copy of the game, they took it home, it stayed in that person's basement for 20 years, and then they put it out and go, oh, does someone want this? And they buy it, and then, it's like it doesn't feel so bad then. But, like... I think the one thing that I don't like about this leak, and I think they probably should have scrubbed it of this stuff, is there's also a lot of personal stuff in there, like emails and passwords and all this kind of stuff that could actually be
detrimental to
Yeah, this stuff could actually be kind of dangerous.
No.
So this is why I would maybe not recommend downloading the whole shebang of stuff that's available, because maybe just wait till people put out the working ROMs, because obviously they weren't enough. You have to sort of build them into a way that you can actually run them. But yeah, there was a lot of personal stuff in there. There was emails from the staff of Argonaut, just some pretty... I don't know how you'd even describe it, but yeah, it's not the kind of stuff you really want to see, if that makes sense. And a lot of it's just especially in the case of Argonaut, it's like a bunch of British teenagers basically joking about in emails, and people are going to take some of it out of context.
Yeah.
Or some of it might not even need to be out of context. But it's just that stuff shouldn't be there. They should have scrubbed that stuff out. I feel like that's really dangerous. And going back to the fact that they've said they've only released 100 gig of the 2 terabytes, and the fact that this stuff was stolen in 2016. How far is this stuff going? How current is this stuff going to go? Is it going to go all the way up to 2016? Are we going to be seeing Wii U prototypes in here? And if we are we going to be seeing personal data that is practically current? And if that happens, Nintendo are definitely going to try and shut some of this down. There's nothing they can do about all this old prototype stuff that's come out. Once it's out there, it's out there. But I think they're going to have to be really careful what they release, because obviously there's still almost 2 terabytes worth of stuff to see. That obviously means the games are going to get bigger as they go along. They're going to start getting into GameCube stuff. Possibly they're going to maybe get into Wii stuff, because as we know, they already had the Wii source code, so there might be some Wii games in there. You might start seeing Wii U stuff, 3DS stuff. But yeah, it's just that personal data stuff. I don't really get why they kept that in. I don't know why they didn't just either censor it or scrub it out. Just delete the stuff that's not relevant to the preservation stuff that's going on. I just don't know why they kept that stuff in there.
Yeah, I agree. That should be none of our business.
Exactly.
I don't even care to look at that stuff anyway.
Yeah, they've put that stuff out there. They've literally put all these folders out exactly as is. But yeah, there is definitely some stuff in there. People were going through it, and they're going, "Oh, look, we're going through the source code, and swear words are coming up," and it's it's not. Or just emails and just
banter.
Yeah, or banter in some case. Some of it is a bit it's you don't want I hate to use the word cancel culture to come along. You don't want that kind of stuff to come out of this. You just don't want it to I'm not
Naka.
saying that like
No,
these people are untouchable or anything, but at the same time, I don't think this stuff should have been in there. Like they should have just scrubbed it all out. Most people are not talking about it, but it is there if you look for it.
Yeah, people who really don't look into stuff as much as they should. They're quick to cancel people over almost anything. Yeah,
Yes.
that's.
I think the biggest thing I saw from this was one of the developers of Star Fox was actually tweeting about the fact that they found like his actual development kits that he built from scratch. And it was like, oh,
Yeah, Dylan
how the hell?
Cuthbert.
That's the guy. Yeah. People were going to him. Oh, what's all this stuff about? You hating one of the programmers and saying to fuck with his code or something. And it's just like, guys, I wasn't saying we hate his code. We were saying we're going to mess around with his code. It's British slang.
Yeah.
He had to explain it's British slang for just messing with something. It's not like, to hell with it. To hell with his code. That's not what he was saying. He was saying, let's F around with it, you know?
Yeah.
And even if Dylan did have a problem with this guy, like, why is that any business of ours? That's between
exactly.
Dylan and
But,
whoever this other guy
He pretty
is.
much confirmed that the wording is not what people were, obviously Americans were interpreting it as to hell with it. But what he was really saying was, we need to mess around with it. Yeah.
It really does annoy me how Americans especially they tend to forget that people in other countries, they don't do or say everything the exact same way in American way.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of British terminology that probably go over American heads.
Yeah, right down
America's
to
heads, and I think that's one of them.
Right down to what type of biscuits we eat.
Or what biscuits even are.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Like I keep forgetting what you guys call English muffins, because you don't say English muffins.
No, we just.
That's our
just say
thing.
muffins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you? It's just muffins to you?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just muffins to you. I think we found the podcast name.
It's just muffins.
Oh no, please don't.
It's just muffins to you.
It's just muffins.
Oh
no, that's so lame. I was hoping I'd come up with something better. I was hoping I'd come up with something better one of these days.
Oh.
The first time I end up with it.
There's two things I didn't even point out that hang on, I'll grab links to them because they weren't in that Unseen 64 thing. Let me have a look. Where are they? I'm looking for a specific thing. I didn't
hopefully no one's email is in it.
No. In the case of the Luigi refill, and I feel like this is totally intentional, completely intentional. The day it released, we were talking about the L is Real 2401 thing. We didn't even mention this. I completely forgot about it.
I saw this earlier.
Yeah, Mario 64 released 24 years and 1 month ago. From the time that roughly, not to the exact day, but almost to the day. 24 years and 1 month after the game came out.
Lying.
No,
lying.
No, look up the Luigi stuff on Twitter. This literally
You lying.
No, I'm not. So this myth has become real.
No.
L is real.
No.
L is real 2401.
I'm literally looking.
Any more perfect?
I'm literally looking at the Wikipedia page. In Japan, Super Mario 64 was released on the 23rd of June, 1996,
Yes.
which is indeed 24 years and 1 month ago.
To
Yes.
almost the day.
Holy crap.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You know what? They've had this data since 2016. They've been slowly trickling it out. What's to say to you that they saw this myth and they were like, let's release it on that day for the lols.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I think they did it on purpose.
You kidding?
They did it on purpose. The people that have been releasing this stuff, they waited till that day to do it.
Those sneaky mothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they did it on purpose. They totally did it on purpose.
Like, it was crazy enough
I'm
that
surprised
this
you
was
haven't
already
seen this. I'm surprised you haven't seen this because this is literally the biggest thing about the Luigi thing. Is it basically made Ellis real?
You know, I did see that Charles Martinet's birthday just recently came up, and he turned 64 years old. But I did not.
That's pretty good.
I did not hear about this.
Yeah, no. Why do you think I
That's
put
why I'm
Ellis
so
Real
shocked.
2401 in the thumbnail?
Well, I thought it was just because the whole thing came back in a meme.
Yeah,
Because everyone's talking
yeah.
about this. Like there's so much fan art of Luigi in Super Mario 64, and just other fan art just referencing the whole myth.
Yeah,
I thought that's why I thought that was the whole reason you brought it up in the thumbnail.
Yeah. Speaking of the thumbnail, I'm just gonna plop it on the screen. I need to show what your avatar.
Yes, you
your
do need to
drawing
show
is,
this.
is referring to.
'Cause this-
Speaking of Star Fox.
Yeah, this also.
Where is it? Where is it? My folder. There it is. Here we go.
Is it on the screen now?
Yeah.
That's it, stick it on his head.
I
This
love
might
this.
be one
This
of my
al-
other favourite things from this. Is this unused art from Star Fox 2? Look at it.
Did we not see this until now?
Nope,
'Cause
I've
I
only
feel
just.
like I'd-
We might have done. I don't know. I might have scrolled past it, but I just wanted to put it in there.
No. I mean, I thought we saw something like this before all these recent leaks.
Yeah, I need to recall.
I don't know. It's
Some
the first time
silly
I've seen it.
faces.
We definitely didn't see the llama and the human girl before, but
I don't know about these. I'm not
did
sure.
we not see these?
I don't know. but-
Either way, it's still pretty crazy.
Yeah, I love
Like
these.
this.
Why
This
didn't they
actually
use
had
these?
some. I don't know. You know what's funny though? When people shared this online, people were making the obvious joke where it looks like where
Yeah,
it looks like
let's
someone's
not-
going
let's
down
not-
on them.
Yeah, let's not. I wasn't going to mention it. It's the
Yeah,
obvious joke
and
to
then-
make.
and then someone actually drew it. And it
For
was-
God's sake. I knew you'd know that. I knew you would know that, of all people. It's like, oh, my Twitter feed's better. Yeah, I bet it is.
Oh yeah, my Twitter.
I bet your
don't-
Twitter feed's
people
so
don't
great.
People don't give a damn. They'll show anything there. So yeah, people drew it. They
Yeah, alright.
they
No need to go
and
into
then it
detail.
was just
No need to go
yeah. I
into
won't
detail.
go into I won't go into too many.
Use your
details. There's just-
imagination. Use your imagination.
Yeah. I just want to
You really
say it
want
was
to.
awesome. It was awesome.
You would say that. Right, I think we should probably wrap up there.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think we've.
I think we've
done it.
spent on this Nintendo stuff. I think there's going to be
Oh,
more.
Yeah,
There'll
we,
totally be more.
we didn't
They
talk about
haven't
the,
even.
Sorry.
Sorry. We didn't talk about the sort of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl stuff yet, did we?
I mean, you can.
There
if
was
you want.
Pokemon Diamond and Pearl stuff.
Did you not see that?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you.
Basically,
you can go into it if you want.
Also, there was also stuff from Diamond and Pearl coming out. Some of it being like bugs, like debugging and stuff like that. But there was also a compilation of the Pokemon cries, like
Or like all the sprites that
sound
were in
they
that game.
yes, and the beta versions of the sprites.
Oh,
And,
the
like-
sprites. I thought you said they're cries, like the sounds
Yeah,
they make.
The cries as well.
Oh,
it's
that's
like-
also there. Okay.
Yeah, it's like almost everything is a Bonsly.
Basically,
Yeah.
that. What was the Pokemon's name?
Bonsly.
Yeah, that's like.
Bonsley.
That's like the default cry that they used before they implemented all the other ones.
Not entirely sure about that.
Well, it seems like it because almost every single Pokemon makes that cry in this prototype.
Yeah, and there was quite a few unused like sprites as well, such as one that could have been
that.
that could have been used for black and white.
I'm sorry, but we didn't even mention Luigi flipping off.
Oh,
Yeah,
that as well.
Oh, yeah.
There are some...
There's a free frame animation in Super Mario World's files of Luigi flipping off.
Yeah.
It
When I
can't be
saw that,
anything
I thought-
else. It literally can't be anything else.
When I saw that, I thought someone just made it up as a troll.
Same
thing.
here.
Like
Same
with
here.
The,
The
like
amount
with
of...
this, like with the So Long Gay Bowser
and the big
voice line.
Chungus sprite and stuff.
And the big Chungus.
yeah,
yeah.
but this is actually a
was
free
certain-
frame animation they found.
I was certain that a troll made that up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Christ.
No
This is so
legitimate
much.
thing would be anything like a leak of what do you call it? Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle or whatever those games are.
Yeah. Yeah, so there has
Next,
been...
you're going to tell me the Star Fox characters really were doing sexual things when they made those faces, and that's why they took it out of the game.
Yeah, it's just English bants. It's just bants.
Oh, that was one of them.
English
yeah.
sense of humour.
Oh yeah, one of the
apparently.
beta sprites.
Oh yeah. I'll stick that on the screen.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh,
the
no, I wonder-
beta sprite
Here he
for Regigigas.
Yeah, he's very basic.
He looks very much like something out of Earthbound at that point.
There you go. So you can see it a bit better now.
So that's one of the different sprites in Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah.
you know what? Since you brought up Earthbound, I'm really hoping we see assets from some of the mother games in these leaks eventually.
That's actually a good point you mentioning that, because apparently the reason we
No.
haven't seen any...
You
no, I'm not going to say... Look, let me finish.
Oh, okay.
The
okay.
reason they haven't found
You guys
any
have me
Mother
on edge.
stuff... The reason they haven't found any Mother stuff is because Mother was never planned to be localized in China.
Mm.
Whereas pretty
In
much
China?
it... Because it all came from an
right,
IQ
brought up-
server. Yeah.
Oh, right. You said Broadon was a Chinese company, what? Didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, they were the
Was-
company
wasn't it
that
Chinese?
They were the company that collaborated with Nintendo to form IQ, which eventually Nintendo outright owns. But like at the time,
Oh,
it
wait,
was a
what?
collaboration.
Oh, okay. I'm
Yeah.
a little confused now, but all right.
So IQ is just like Nintendo's like.
Yeah, I remember what
yeah,
IQ
Oh,
was.
okay, yeah. So basically, Nintendo collaborated with a company called Broadon to form that Chinese division of Nintendo. And at that time, it was owned by both of them, but eventually Broadon sold their share of it to Nintendo. I think that's how it works, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, so I think with that, we should wrap up.
Yeah.
Because,
Before we get into more trouble.
yeah, before we get into any more trouble showing off some of Nintendo's dirty, locked away secrets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm
Well,
sure
just
we'll
wait-
be coming
just
back
wait-
to this maybe even next week at this rate if they're going to release even more stuff. It depends when the next rollout is.
Someone let me know when they uncover the unfiltered DK rap from Donkey Kong 64.
Oh yes,
Oh,
I
really?
want that. I want that.
If
I
that's
really
in
want
there,
that.
I don't know. I don't know if maybe Rareware has that stuff.
Yeah, that's
Or-
another good
I don't
point.
know.
Yeah, basically anything that was made outside of Nintendo is probably not here, except the Argonaut stuff. But
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with. I think as I said, I think in the case of like Mother and Earthbound, they never planned to release that in China, so that's maybe why we haven't seen anything. But at this point, there's still 1.9 terabytes worth of stuff to see, so who knows?
Oh, hold on tight.
Yeah. Yeah.
we might see N64 Mother 3 at this rate. I would love to see that.
I would too.
Is there anything else anyone would love to see? What would be like their top thing? Like if it's amongst this. Because for me, they've shown off almost everything I would want to see, but I don't know.
Yeah.
There's
I
not
mean,
much
I'm
left at this point.
happy
I
with all
certainly
the Mario
wouldn't
stuff.
want to. I certainly wouldn't want to see any more sensitive information from
Oh,
developers.
definitely
No.
not.
Yeah, none of that.
But I would be looking forward to seeing stuff from the GameCube and Wii days, and the Game
Hmm.
Boy Advance and DS days.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely some DS stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah, like I forgot. I'm pretty sure last time they also said that they had the source code from the DS as well. So there's probably more
they have
DS
been doing
stuff.
they have been doing some Pokemon games that are from what DS and
Yeah, and
GBA,
and
so
that's true. Diamond and Pearl was a DS game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we might see some more of that stuff. I just really I think my absolute jam is just seeing the origins of characters like Yoshi. I think that's probably up there. It's one of my favourite things. The literal evolution.
Did I mention all the fan art of the beta Yoshi, the lanky Yoshi?
Oh, some of that stuff's really good. There's some really good beta Yoshis out there. He looks like a character from Looney Tunes a little bit in some of the art. He kind of looks like Beaky Bizzard or something.
Oh yeah.
I can imagine him saying yup 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 yup
Yup.
yup.
Someone also drew the human and the llama girl from the Star Fox 2 portraits.
I just see that on Twitter.
Yeah, there's
that was pretty cool.
Safe for work fan art out there. There is actually.
I haven't seen. Well, I'm pretty sure the llama was in the sexual one I mentioned earlier, but I have not seen any.
I'm sure you're gonna get. But
I'm pretty sure. But
just in case anyone gets full 30 forward.
But I'm pretty sure everything I've seen of the human girl has been safe for work so far. I mean, it's only a matter of time, but still, I don't think I need to bring that up later. It's just this one thing I found was so funny. But anyways.
Yeah, with that, I think we should probably wrap up. I've said that a few times now.
Yeah, sorry about the swearing.
It's alright. There was literal swears in Nintendo's own files. So,
yeah.
You know, they literally found like
I didn't even hear you guys
the
swear,
Zelda source
actually.
code because basically they reckon they misinterpreted the word hook. So that's why it kept coming up in like Zelda stuff because like everywhere it was supposed to say hook shot, it said fuck shot.
Oh damn!
Yeah.
I went out of my way to say mothers earlier instead of mother truckers, you know.
Yeah.
And here you are just coming out with that word.
Yeah.
Mother cluckers.
Mother.
Mother clucker.
Wait a minute.
Right
where did the Mel Blanc scream come from?
Oh, that was the placeholder Mario 64 voices. Did I not actually explain what that was? So
that scream that I was laughing at right at the start of the podcast.
You did actually. Yeah, that's basically
like that. That's actually Mel Blanc.
Yeah, Yosemite Sam.
The super talented voice actor from all the old Looney Tunes shorts.
Yeah. It's
that's
probably
Mel
about
Blanc.
time we actually explained this. But yeah, there's basically
or Mel Blanc, I think
we've got uncompressed prototype placeholder voices for Mario before Charles Martinet took over, and one of them is just a stolen sample from Yosemite Sam.
Yes. I believe one of the Frogger games from past the 32-bit generation also used that scream in its files.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But it didn't wind up in the in the final game. It's just a popular. I'm guessing it's just a popular placeholder sound.
Yeah, maybe, or it might even be in like one of those sample pack CDs somewhere, because that wouldn't be the first time Looney Tunes stuff that ended up being used as a sample in something. See, Sonic Rush.
Probably. Oh, really? It was in Sonic Rush?
Yeah, Sylvester the Cat is in one of the songs. Very quietly, but it's a sample where he's going, "Scratch me, go ahead, scratch me."
Oh yeah. That did sound just like Sylvester.
Yep, it is straight up from, and it was found on a sample CD. You know, like one of those like ones that are made for industry where they just use like music samples and stuff. So yeah, that happened.
That's pretty surprising to hear all these Looney Tunes sounds and.
Basically, if it's less than,
like,
I think
does
if it's
Warner
under,
Brothers put this out themselves?
I think it's a case of if it's under like 2 seconds or under 1 second, they can get away with it. I think that's how it works. I don't know, but I don't know anything about music sampling. But there's something like that. So swearing is allowed on this show.
That's
Go
why I
back
said
to the
sorry.
go back to the old episodes.
Yeah,
I've been-
That's all
I've
I'll
been
say.
find some
I
Black the
swear-
Younger.
I swear all the time, but I've been holding back on the podcast because I don't know what's acceptable here.
Yeah, we're
trying to cut down,
Yeah,
but it's a
we
bit like
it's not really that strict. It just happens. If it happens, it happens.
yeah, a bit like if you're trying to cut down on meat.
Yeah, I guess.
Sometimes it happens.
It's alright. I've been the Gagaman.
I've been Cherry Terrier.
I've been Hunk Thunder.
What, we're not going to ramble for another 20 minutes?
I mean, we could if you want, but nah, it's alright.
Alright. Well, I've been freaking out this whole time in the thumbnail from doing all these uncompressed barrel rolls. Whoa! Also, I'm Elk. Whoa!
Jesus. And don't forget.
That's the joke. That's
Don't
the
forget.
joke I
Don't
was
say
gonna make
shit
at
or
the start of
bugger.
the
Oh shit,
podcast.
bugger.
That was the joke I was going to make at the start of the podcast.
Well
Oh,
done.
But then
from,
Mel
Bo
Blanc
Slichter.
said no.
Well done. Right, we're off. Don't forget to not say shit or
Okay.
bugger.
So long, gay listeners.